What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Good afternoon, top of the afternoon to you lot. What's going on, man? Wait, it feels like a hot minute since it's been just me and you. Do you know what I mean? The channel's been progressing well. Everyone else is having their say. It's not just an echo chamber of my views and my thoughts, and I've loved it. But I have missed kind of touching with you guys on a personal. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't know what to do. Smash a like on the video on the way in. Yeah, take your shoes off, housekeeping rules and all of that. Subscribe if you are new. You lot know all about the road to 100k as well. And let me know where you guys are watching from and what's going on in your neck of the woods. We've got a lot to talk about this morning. And I want to start with this. I'm surprised not more people are talking about this, because I read it and thought, is that what's going on? Is that what's going on? And that is that Manchester United, along with 18 other Premier League clubs, are kind of complaining about Newcastle and want kind of like an emergency meeting. They want to discuss that, you know, how has this happened so quickly? And ironically, listen to this, they want to talk about how the brand of the Premier League can be tarnished by this. So we have to talk about this, and we've got to talk about it in many different ways. It means many different things. It isn't only Man United saying what's going on here. It's the other 18 clubs as well. But I think it's interesting to talk about, and it's from a fairly reliable source as well in the Guardian. So, you know, quite a decent source. So we're going to talk about that. There's a little bit on Martial, but the source was almost laughable. But I want to talk about that as well, and just get into some stuff. So yeah, let me know where you guys are watching from and what's going on. Who we got in the chat? David Lee, obviously always there. United Fan TV. Flex, mic is too hot. Mic is a bit loud. Turn the gain down. Okay, we'll do that. We'll turn that down right now for you guys. Let's see what's going on here. Let's turn it down. 1 2 1 2. There you go. 1 2. How we sounding now? Give me a little thumbs up. Give me a little thumbs up in the comments if we're good. Turn the gain down. We've done that. Beautiful, says United Fan TV. Pause Ted Lasso to watch this, says Steffi Jenks. People saying about the mic. Let me just know that's better. Okay. People saying nice. We good now? Good now. Okay, we're back. Big up Lil Yo-Yo. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, says Oral. We got the thumbs up. Apologies about that. Sorry to hurt your ears so early in the morning, innit? Big up to you guys letting me know. You see how the community just, you know what I mean? You let me know. You don't mess about. You let me know. So if you didn't hear it, well, you would have heard it, but it would have been really loud and horrible. Man United and 18 other Premier League clubs are basically saying what's going on with this Newcastle thing. I want to start by saying this. And you know what? I think it's important that if your club does something well, celebrate it. You know what I mean? Commend it. Say, well done. You guys done well. If your club does something shit or something you're not proud of, like if it's your people's, you're going to talk, you're going to say it. Say it. Say, rah, I don't really like the way you done that. We need to do better there. People get in their feelings like if you say stuff like that, but you have to. If you're a good partner, or you're a good, you know, lover of your club or lover of whatever, you will call out the right just as much as the wrong. Isn't this the same Man United that tried to shit on the rest of the league with the Super League, along with other clubs, along with Tottenham, along with Arsenal, along with Man City, along with Chelsea? And now we want to come to the table and say, hold on a minute, how did this Newcastle thing come about? Unbelievable. We just literally tried to shit on the integrity of football. And all of a sudden now, clubs along with Man United, who were part of that Super League, want to come to the table and say, yo, about this Newcastle thing, like it might tarnish the image of the Premier League, you know. Let's not get this twisted. It's all about money. And as soon as these guys have been kind of challenged in terms of a bigger player, a bigger bully, if you want to say, a bigger financial foothold in the game, right? All of a sudden now it's a problem. But when small clubs like, I don't know, Burnley and, I don't know, Brighton and, I don't know, just smaller clubs in Watford and other teams in Southampton, when all those teams wanted to say something about the shambles of the Super League, we were quite happy for that to happen. And when I say we, I don't mean us as Man United fans. I mean the club. I mean the other big clubs. But now all of a sudden there's owners richer than the Glazers. There's owners richer than the people who own Man City, owners richer than Roman Abramovich. Now them clubs want to come together and have a thing with the Premier League, saying, yo, like, what's going on with these owners? Look, what I think is a valid point, what I do think is a valid point, is the fact that it's about the regulations of football. You know, I don't want to get too political, but at the end of the day, if you're saying how can someone just come over from overseas with all this money and buy a football club without really being challenged when it wasn't really good enough for them before because they threw that consortium out and said that it didn't work. How does that happen? You know, we're looking at the governing of football, had the fans need to own some of it, etc., etc. But really, let's face it, really, it's just jealousy. Because we know it's peak. Man United are going shit. Newcastle, Man City are going rah. Chelsea are going woof. Flipping heck. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand that. I really don't get it. So for me, I don't get where that comes from. I mean, if I'm looking at some of the bits from The Guardian, these are some of the quotes. They're saying angry clubs have targeted the Premier League with complaints about the Newcastle takeover, and are pushing for an emergency meeting next week. The 19 other top clubs are understood to be united in position, so all on the same page, to the Saudi-led consortium allowed to buy the club. The demand for the emergency meeting is not so much an attempt to derail the takeover, obviously, because it's happened already. So they're not trying to get together to say, don't let it happen. But this is the funny thing about it. But rather a reflection of how high feelings are running. Well, so basically how high jealousy and envy are running. Like, do you know what I mean? You got to take the rough with the smooth. This is, like I said, these are the same clubs who wanted to absolutely crap on everybody below them in the Premier League and go off and do their own thing. Don't now come and try and play the humanitarian card or the card of gracious, what about the league? It doesn't look good. Clubs have expressed the concern that the Premier League's brand could be damaged. How? The deal has been fiercely criticised by people around the world and saying that it's not right and stuff like that, and that's kind of like a human rights element. Now that is the subtle stuff that I'm not going to lie is way over my pay grade. Where the money comes from, people saying about oil money and this and human rights and stuff like that, I'm not going to profess to know everything there is to know about that. I think that would be wrong. That's stepping into a remit that really isn't me. I don't know enough about that to come and make a legitimate argument as to exactly where the Saudi money is coming from, exactly where PSG's money is coming from. That's not me. If you want that, I suppose you need to go to a different outlet. I need to go to a different outlet to educate myself on that. But what I do know, is the basics of it, and that is the fact that these guys did not give a crap when it was the Super League. Do you know what I mean? So Flex don't watch the news, LOL, says Styleable. Yeah, exactly. City, Chelsea, PSG, if they want it to be so strict, then people like who own PSG and who own Man City, who own Chelsea, run with Ramage, they wouldn't have been able to come in and just put the money down and buy the clubs either. So they need to be careful what they wish for. It's a bit different. Well, even with us, we didn't want the Glazers to come and do that and do what they've done to the club, but the same with the Glazers. The Glazers have come and done what they've done to the club, but if football was set up in a different way and governed in a different way in this country, the Glazers wouldn't have been able to buy it like that either. So we have to wait and see how this plays out. I mean, one thing I will say on pure footballing terms though, this Newcastle thing, you have to be worried or you have to be skeptical. Not in the immediate. I think it goes in a chain. I think it clubs like, I think it will first affect clubs like Spurs and Arsenal and teams of aspirations of getting back in the top four. Firstly, I'm not saying it won't get to Man United, Man City, Chelsea, etc., Liverpool, because of course it will. But I think it's going to affect them teams first. If you think about it, if you're Arsenal /Spurs I don't know, West Ham, Villa, trying to just break that mold, Leicester, if you're those teams trying to get that kind of caliber of player to kind of gate crash the top four, you're immediately on the back foot. You're immediately on the back foot by this, in my opinion. I think you're on the back foot because Newcastle are then going to start taking players of that ilk. Yes, Newcastle have now got money to bypass that and just say, yo, Mbappe's going on a free next year, 800 grand a week. That's the money they've got. No transfer fee, end of the year. Mbappe, we're building this. No, do you know what I'm saying? No situation. Let me just move this mic over here a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's still peaking. There's still situations where that can happen, and I think that's where you have to understand that this is a real thing. This is it's not just good enough to say, oh, you know what? Nah, they ain't gonna do it. It's only Newcastle. Have you seen what Man City done? When Man City got all that money, what did we say? We was like, still Man City. Look at the players that we've got, and then look what they did. Same with Chelsea. Same with PSG. I know they haven't won the ultimate in the Champions League yet, but look at the players they can attract. Look at the squad they can build. And with the money that Newcastle United have now got, it's part and parcel of it. It really is. But I just think it's massive. That's good now with the mic. Love for that, Steffi Jenks. Appreciate that. I just think the hypocrisy of these clubs to then say we have concerns about, you know, how quickly it happened and stuff like that. Well, we all had concerns around the world with how quickly the Super League came. Luckily, how quickly it went, but with how quickly it came about, and all you clubs had signed it, and all of you clubs had put in for it and had it signed, sealed, and delivered. We're all concerned about that. Do you know what I'm saying? But now all of a sudden, someone comes and tries to outdo you lot. You lot want to make noise about it. No, that it's bad. It's bad. And look, I think we can all talk about big owners coming in and doing this and doing that, but at the end of the day, it's because of the governments is allowing it to happen. Do you know what I mean? These people are allowed to come in and buy clubs. If you've got money, talks. If you've got the money, you're able to buy the club. Yes, you got to pass certain checks which that consortium didn't pass first time round. Was it 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever it was? But they obviously went and sorted out their shit, came back, and got what they wanted. Hey, thanks for the contribution. Says Martial, Varane, Paul Pogba, or De Gea win a trophy Sunday. Yes, they do. Well, Martial needs to get some game time, but yeah, Spain and De Gea needs to get some game time as well. But Pogba and Varane are the only ones playing at the moment. Yeah, Spain against France in the Nations League final. I'm looking forward to seeing that. What a game that was, by the way. France against Belgium. That was a sick game as well. Pep to Newcastle, says Rasbaret. It's cherry picking and football digging its own grave. It might not be, and Blue Abadi Abadai says it might not be about money Newcastle are getting, but more about human rights. Listen, and that's another fair point. If it is about that, and that's what their angle is about that, then fair enough. Then everyone's, you know, allowed to kind of come to sort of say, well, where is this money coming from? But I think, you know, I surely they could have done that about City. They could have done that against Chelsea. They could have done it against PSG, and it didn't stop any of these people. So if that is the case, obviously I don't condone that. Like I said, I don't know enough about exactly where all these people's money's coming from. Even the Glazers, I don't know exactly where it comes from. Us as casual football fans, we don't know. And I think if you ask the Newcastle fans how many of them are concerned with that at the moment, obviously they're just celebrating because their club's been taken over. It's few and far between. I think I saw Stan Collymore put out a tweet which I thought was really interesting. He was like, I use a Uber, which is run by whoever. I use a this, I use a that service, I use this service. Look how many services we use or enjoy or whatever, or back or have in our lives or whatever, that we don't really know where the financial backing comes from X, Y, Z, because, you know, that's just not something we're privy to. So I think you've got to be really careful about that. Obviously, there's a case for it and it should be looked at if there's mad stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and, you know, but Newcastle have obviously done their vet, and if they're happy for it, then that's what's happened. We've seen owners coming from the Middle East and Saudi Arabia and America and Russia and things like this, and it's been passed. So, you know, we'll have to see. We'll have to see about that. One thing we'll be interested to see how quickly they start kind of getting players and who they take. And this leads me into a little bit about today, which the source was a little bit off, and I haven't seen many people talking about it, but it was that Martial could be on the move to Newcastle, and they've already kind of looked at it to see that. Would I do that? Would I let Martial go to Newcastle happily, willingly? No, I wouldn't. Would I want to help Newcastle kickstart their revolution? No, I would not. I wouldn't do that. Could that happen? Could it happen? Well, you can't really rule out anything with this takeover. You know, Donny van de Beek is another one. And Jack said it here on the channel a few days ago. Like, if Newcastle came in for Donny and said, "Bro, we want to sign you in January. We'll give money's not a problem. We'll just give Man United what they paid for him, which is 34 million pounds or whatever it was, or 40 million all in, whatever it was. Yeah, and Donny will give you, I don't know, 200k a week." Donny might say yeah. Donny might say yeah. Whether United let him go there or not, I don't know. But I would not rule out these types of things. I really wouldn't. I think it's very naive to say, oh, Newcastle can't do that. They can't do that. The money they've got is clearer of everyone else in world football. It's crazy. Says Flex, Martial played 260 minutes and got 2 goal involvements in this campaign, so he deserves to win it too if France do win it. De Gea will get it for nothing. I hear what you're saying there, eh? I'm more meant in terms of the last game. Obviously, he didn't play, so hopefully he gets to play in the final. But fair enough in the campaign. You've come with the facts there. I can't argue with that. He has played, and I do remember in the last international break he played well as well. So yeah, Grizz, that's definitely not Grizz as well. It's probably just a spammer, isn't it? Let me just get rid of them. There you go. Big up the mods doing their thing. I'm just gonna have to put it on slow mode now because these people are just taking the mic as usual. I just don't get it. Like, why do you wanna? This is so weird. 1 second, guys. There you go. Just bang that. There you go. Slow mode is on. Respect Martial, best close control dribbler and link up in our club. Also 16th highest scorer in United history, says A. A come with a lot of facts there. A come with a lot of facts. I feel like the Martial thing though, it's good for him to get a goal against Everton, obviously, last game we played. I still feel it's going to be a little bit... I don't know if he's ever going to get back to being a main starter. I hope he can revive it, but I don't think he'll go in January. I don't think Ollie will let him go in January. Ollie don't even want to let Donny go, and he don't even play him. I think Ollie does have with Martial. I think he does have aspirations of actually playing him though. That's one thing I will say. I do think that, because you saw obviously getting the start, he raised eyebrows, but for Solskjaer to start him like that in a game like that and rest Ronaldo, rest Pogba, put Sancho on the bench, that shows he's still got aspirations of Martial getting game time. But at the same time, in the previous games before that, he weren't even coming off the bench. So I don't see Martial leaving in January, but the point still stands. Don't sleep on Newcastle being able to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? MK Agent says, Flex, what do you think of UEFA banning Ajax's third kit? Have they done that? Did they ban it? Shit, that's why? Why have they done that? I love that kit. I need to get that kit as well, actually. I'm not just being biased because I'm Jamaican, but it's a dope kit. Don't know why they've done that. So yeah, if you're just joining us, 19 Premier League clubs, which obviously including Manchester United, are calling for a meeting to discuss kind of the image of the Premier League with how quickly Newcastle's owners have come into it. I've touched on both sides of the story. Some people are bringing the argument that maybe they're more concerned about where the money's coming from and human rights stuff, which, okay, fair play. They're going to have to go and investigate that and talk about that. But I doubt they would have come this far unless there was gaping holes in that. And I was kind of going down the line of, really, it just stinks of jealousy, red eye, envy. You know what I mean? Too watchy, red eye. You know, just jealous because they got a little bit of people, not a little bit, a lot of money now, Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see how that one pans out. And secondly, was a little bit on Martial's January move. And like I said, the source wasn't amazing. There's not really many people going with that, so I didn't want to go with that as a headline. But I don't think you can massively rule out the intention from Newcastle to do that. Maybe Man United accepting it, and maybe Martial going there this early, because, you know, look, let's face it, Newcastle are in a relegation battle at the moment. Steve Bruce probably going to leave. They can't change no players till January, and they've got to win games. They've got to win games quick. They could be way off it. But in January, they're obviously going to do stuff. They're obviously going to do stuff, and we have to see what pans out with that as well. I did want to talk a little bit about some comments about Raphael Varane as well, about how he's been settling. Raphael Varane says, it was an interview with Premier League World. He says, I think it's different football. The rhythm is very different, and you repeat a lot of those rhythms. It is different. Is it? Hold on a minute. The rhythm is very different, and you repeat a lot of those rhythms. Is that him saying, like, rah, we're just moving the ball side to side. I get the ball, I pass it to Wan-Bissaka. I get it back off Wan-Bissaka. Or I get it back off the other centre back. I go to Luke Shaw. I get it back off him. I go back. Is that a little bit of that? Maybe I'm being a little bit extra there, but it gave me those vibes. It says you have to be ready because it is intense. It's a new challenge for me. It's a different competition and different mentality. All of it is new for me, and I enjoy it every day. So this experience is exciting. Just quickly on Varane, you don't know I was riding out for him as my signing. I just think he's unbelievable. Has he absolutely tore up trees? I would say he's just been a constant calming influence. Yeah, he might get, like any defender, you can't stop everything. Do you know what I mean? You can get caught in possession or caught running back towards goal. I think there was a time against Villarreal when he was running back and looked in control of the situation, and the guy nicked it off him, and then he missed, luckily. But apart from that, you know, I don't see him being I think that actually there was a time when Saiss, who plays for Wolves, Roman Saiz, I think, beat him to a header when De Gea made that double save. He kind of got over him. But overall, out of all the games he's played, I think he's been brilliant. I think he's given a real calming influence. He gets his head on the end of everything. Like United Fan TV, one of the most says, Flex really stuck his neck on the line with trust in Varane. I did. And if it goes to shit, I'm going to have to be one of the first people to say, I just can't believe it. I really thought he was way better than this. I really thought this would happen for him. I'm not saying it hasn't, because I think it is starting to, and he's been really, really steady, very, very steady, very commanding. It's like when he goes to firefight situations because of how well he reads the game. I don't know what it's like for you guys watching at home, but when you're in the stadium and I see him on his way to kind of sort out a situation, I'm just like, he's got this covered. He's got it covered. Don't get me wrong. When that Villarreal thing happened and he didn't have it covered, I sat there thinking, oh my god, please don't score. Everyone's going to be on him. But by and large, I think he's just, sorting us out. I really do. You can't expect new United signings to tear up trees when a team on the whole is playing badly. Says see no evil, hear no evil. Exactly. That is it. It's the same with the Sancho thing. I saw Gareth Southgate kind of touching on the fact that Sancho with his confidence and stuff like that. Do you know what I think it is? One, the outside the fan base, rival fans, and I don't really blame them. This is Sancho's a player that we wanted from last year for 120 million. We said no. We waited a year and got him for 77 million, 73 million, whatever it is. Yeah, those rival fans are entitled. It's football banter, isn't it? They're entitled to say, "Rah, thought he'd be doing a bit more than this." We did it with Pepe. When Arsenal got Pepe, we did it. When Havertz went to Chelsea, we were doing it. And just as general, in football fans, we expect players to literally tear it up from the start. So I'm not exactly mad at them. It's part and parcel of football, and it's part and parcel as well of having a high price tag. The only issue I have with it is when our own fans do it. I was saying, I spoke to a fan and he said, I don't know, he's giving me Memphis vibes. I just don't think it's going to work. And I'm like, chill out. If it's even, do you know how bad it is? Even if it's a whole year and it doesn't quite work for him yet because he hasn't quite hit the level, sometimes it takes that. At the same time, of course, it has to be a balance. I want to see something from Sancho. I want to see him, if he goes the whole year without a goal and assist, obviously that's going to be very disappointing. You want to see something. But I think we're slowly seeing that in him. When he came on against Everton, Gary Neville touched on it as well. He said about he thought he looked best again coming against Everton, how sharp he looked. And I agree, he looked sharp. And there's been moments where Sancho was getting into positions where he looks dangerous. It's just that final decision, that final ball, or that final kind of cohesion between him and whatever teammate he's trying to link up with. It just isn't quite there. Bruno's talking to him a hell of a lot. Pogba's getting involved in that channel sometimes when Sancho isn't there. It keeps changing. Luke Shaw's played with him a couple of times. That kind of trio when Bruno drifts into that position, Bruno, Luke Shaw and Sancho. It's developing. Another thing I'm not surprised at, because Mason's been doing all right, or Mason's the main guy on the right-hand side, is the fact that we haven't really seen Sancho on the right. Mason, the last few games, has looked a bit off. He's looked a little bit off. Don't get me wrong, when he came on against, I can't remember who he came on against in the league when we wasn't doing West Ham, I think it was. It might have been Carabao Cup, but he came on and looked quite sharp. When he's come on, he's looked okay, but by and large, Mason hasn't been tearing up trees from the start, like the team hasn't. So I'm surprised we haven't seen Sancho from the right at all. It's almost like when Sosa wants to change it up, it's either Martial or Sancho on the left, or Paul Pogba. But for me, I know that he can play on the right hand side. We've seen that happen on the right hand side as well. When he's been at Dortmund, he can cause massive problems there. And going forward, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing a little Mason get a little rest, try out Sancho on the right, Martial on the left, and of course Rashford's back. Hopefully he's going to be back on the bench. For the Leicester game. Scored a couple of goals in midweek. Midweek the other day, coming back from his injury, which is obviously good for him. So it's that spot for left wing is going to be hotly contested. Someone's going to have to start challenging the right hand side. It ain't going to be Martial because he can't play on the right, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be Rashford because I think his best position is on the left. And any time I've seen Rashford, it just doesn't work for me. We saw it a few times last season. and we've seen it at different points of Rashford's career. I just don't think he looks solid there at all. I really don't. Pogba ain't going to play on the right hand side. He's going to be on the left. So the only person who's versatile enough to challenge Mason on the right hand side, especially now there's no Dan James, is Sancho. So I think as Rashford comes back from injury, I think we'll start to see Sancho play more on the right, because there just isn't. Otherwise, Sancho's not really going to get a game. Santiago, big up yourself, says, get the feeling that Sancho will be better with Rashford back. In what way? In terms of Rashford back will give that energy on the left-hand side and that balance on the left-hand side, and then you put Sancho on the right and then keep rotating him and Greenwood. Is that what you mean? Maybe you do. And greetings from rainy Bangkok, says VK. Big up yourself, man. Hold tight, everyone out there in Bangkok as well. And Blade67 says, let's have a look. The Premier League got on the moral high ground regarding the Super League, yet stabbed all the Premier League clubs in the back and allowed the Saudi takeover without telling the Premier League. I support the Super League 100% now. Wow. I definitely don't support the Super League 100%, but I see your point there of the double standards, and that's what I was talking about earlier. It's all about double standards. Ryan G says, Greenwood has been played too much. He looks hella tired now. Yeah, that's another thing. I don't want to see him getting burnt out. Obviously, there's this England situation where he doesn't get called up and that. But really and truly, I don't mind it. I want him to focus on his club football and get consistent, but he is getting rinsed. He did start before we got Ronaldo. Greenwood starting well. What did he have? 3 and 3. We were saying, you know what, boy, Greenwood's kind of looking at it like, actually, I'm displacing Cavani up front. I'm displacing him. But then we got Ronaldo, and then it was like, okay, right, Mason Greenwood's going to go to third choice striker, and then he made the right hand side his own. But I don't think we should get into a situation, and I hope Ollie doesn't do this, where it's just a given that Mason plays every game week in, week out on the right hand side. I don't get it. I don't get that at all. I feel like Mason is still young. He shouldn't think that he's got it all sorted on the right hand side, because we've got Jadon Sancho, who's very good in that position. Do you know what I mean? Flex, you got Andreas on the back of the Flamengo top. No, I haven't. I haven't. I got this. I went to Brazil. I went to Rio in like 2018, so I picked this up there. Tony first Newcastle signing, Hendo to the tunes. Elizabeth Williams says, another one, Dean Henderson. Is Dean Henderson going to get pissed off and be like, yo, I'm out, I want to be number one? If he does think that, see you later. You know, if Dean Henderson loves Man United as much as he says he does, or wants to make it at Man United as much as he says he does, I don't think he walks away after being number one for probably the second half of last season, having a slow start to this season because of injury and illness, and then goes to Newcastle because he doesn't want the fight. I don't rate that at all. And if he does want to do that, then great. But there's nothing that I've seen doing that. Shout out Mimi, timing people out, doing the business. Peoples, big up yourself. Flex, what do you think? Flex, do you think Greenwood is getting too greedy now? Says Umar Chowdhury. Do I think he's getting too greedy? I don't think getting too greedy. I get what you're saying. He's making a couple of wrong choices in terms of maybe shooting a bit too much when he should pass, etc., etc. But I wouldn't say greedy. I would say just a little bit overplayed, a little bit kind of comfort zone. He's playing all the games. I don't get it. I don't get why he has to be the go-to for every single game. He's still young. His ceiling is super, super high. And that rotation can be good, especially with the type of players that we got. Especially because Sancho can play there. I don't know why. That's one thing. I don't understand why we're playing Sancho so consistently on the left. I haven't even given him a try. I haven't even sat Greenwood out once, or even made a tactical change. The only time I've seen Sancho on the right was against, who was it? I think it was Villarreal. Did he start against them? It was one of them games recently where I was like, I don't really like it. He was swapping Mason and Sancho, and it looked like Ollie didn't have a clue. It was like, quickly go on the right hand side for 5 minutes. Quickly come back for the left a minute. You two swap again. I'm like, nah, I don't really like that. Umba says, nah, Flex, he is being too greedy. Playing a lot is an excuse for not making clear passes. Interesting you say that. Okay, maybe you guys see it differently. I just see it as, well, he is making mistakes. That's what I'm saying. He's not tearing it up. So I agree with you there, Umba. I do agree with you there that he is he's doing too much. He's doing too much. And I don't know whether that's because he's trying to prove himself because Ronaldo's there or just in general. But you got to remember the team isn't really. It could be out of frustration as well, Umber. And I'm not excusing it. I'm just thinking of different reasons as to why it could be happening. You got to remember, we're not playing very well right now at all. Like, you know, I'm not saying you don't know where the next win's coming from, but you're not confident going into games right now because of how we're playing. And the fixture list coming up is super, super tough. But to say that, you know, Mason's just being greedy, I think there's other factors. Maybe he's frustrated because, you know, when he does get it, the system lacks support of the players so much that they have to produce something. You're probably looking up thinking, wow, what is going on? Yes, he can make a simple pass. I 100% agree with that. But maybe the players got to kind of are frustrated. Do you know what I'm saying? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of the Super League. The rest of the Nations League, you know what I mean? England playing as well soon. When are they playing? Are England playing tomorrow or today? I don't even know. Hopefully we get no injuries. Everyone comes back safe and sound. We will have the full view tomorrow as well, with the full gang back in here. Big up to every single one of the mods. David Lee in there, United Fan TV, and Mimi as well, doing what she does best, sorting people out in the chat. And I will see you all very, very soon, guys. What else have we got on the agenda? Next week, obviously, is the build-up to all the games. We'll have the build-up to Leicester as well as the international break comes to a wrap-up as well. So it's kind of that annoying little pause, in it, that you get in the international break. It's no one really likes it. Do you know what I mean? But at least we got France and Spain to look forward to in the final, I suppose. Who am I going to go with? Spain played really well against Italy. They opened them up. They played really, really well. But the way France went into overdrive when they went 2-0 down was good, even though they conceded. And I'm going to go France. I'm going to go France to win that one. Anyway, guys, smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and drop your thoughts and feelings in the boxes below in the comment section. Peace.